June 2015, Pride and Prejudice. We have considered your request for a wage increase, and we are aware that you have once again received the top student award for medical laboratory trainees, but no, we had hoped to deter you with a lower wage. Our large private laboratory is a business, not a training institution, and my fellow pathologist partners all agree that profits are our main concern. Quite frankly, you do not fit the mould of our preferred laboratory assistants, proper young ladies, doctors or lawyers' daughters, happy to fill the years before marriage with routine employment, not expecting to work through all the departments for comprehensive training and taking time off to attend lectures at the hospital nearby. We notice that your address is a rooming house in a shabby area of downtown Auckland, and one of our partners actually encountered you serving ice creams at the Embassy Theatre one night. It is reported that you receive payment from some of our young ladies for sewing their summer dresses and knitting their winter ski sweaters. You are also seen arriving at work on one of those motor scooters, wearing a crash helmet with our uniform. Quite frankly, Miss Hooley, we suggest you apply for a position at the Auckland Hospital Laboratory. How could I expect these lofty beings to understand that I had actually been rejected several years ago as a school leaver by the gruff-mannered old hospital pathologist? Well, he had said, 5 years of training and examinations and tiring shift work is a huge commitment, and I like to select trainees against their family background and parental support, which seems sadly lacking in your case. He had glanced with distaste at my Takapuna Grammar School final year excellence awards in biology and chemistry, with their inscriptions and my name all distorted with blotches and wavering runs of ink. Obviously a case of irresponsibility in charge of important documents. I thought I heard a low muttered bog Irish as my red-haired, freckled, subdued self stumbled away from that interview. My mind recalled an earlier painful night. Disturbingly, my parents were divorcing and had gone their own separate ways. Neither was interested in attending school prize-giving night. As I walked home alone that dark night, heavy rain fell unexpectedly, dousing my precious certificates, mingling with my own tears of misery and frustration. There was no sheltering umbrella, parental or protective. However, it seemed there was hope for me after all. The small laboratory at the Catholic Mercy Hospital was staffed by 2 nuns, one was rather elderly, plus a few trainee technologists like myself. I received a discreet message that I would be welcome there, and so I tentatively entered a mysterious new world. The laboratory, pharmacy and operating theatres all occupied the top floor, commanding stunning panoramic views of Rangitoto Channel, Auckland Harbour and City. The general facilities were old-fashioned, but I loved the place. Tedious time spent scrubbing glass test tubes and slides for reuse were rewarded by the glorious vistas from the windows. One magical morning I spied the stately Chilean bark Esmeralda under full sail, entering Auckland, surrounded by a hectic flotilla of small vessels. I ground up mixtures of dyes and alcohol in a mortar and pestle to stain slides of blood films and bacterial organisms, and loved to discover what microscopic invaders flourished on agar plates. My own wire loop, sterilised by Bunsen burner flame, wafted delicate grids of suspect bacteria, and tweezed paper discs of antibiotic soon spotted the most effective treatment against infection. I cooked up my own growth medium to pour into sterile glass petri dishes. Conical flasks of agar and nutrients were autoclaved until sterile, then carefully poured into plates in a small sterile dark room, lit dimly with ultraviolet light, eyes shielded with special dark glasses. The microscopic diagnosis of blood parasites, anemias and leukemias was a special interest of mine, as was the precise cross-matching of donor blood for nearby surgery. Graphic images also come to mind. The floppy, fatty mass in a covered basin from theatre, flipped over for dissection and histological analysis, was a complete female breast, the disconcerting sight of a completely excised cancerous human tongue, the distressing sight and sound of a screaming girl hastily hauled along the corridor towards the surgery with an extended arm ending in a blood-soaked wrist stump. Oh God, where was the hand? Lunch times were often an opportunity to seek relief and wander along wooded avenues to discover a new delight, the freshly fashioned Eden Garden in its nearby nestled quarry home. The Mercy Hospital hosted special patients and royalty such as the Tongan Queen, the stately Saloti, who occupied her own impressively furnished suite during visits to monitor her diabetes. I was treated like a celebrity in Tonga when I mentioned having met and attended their most beloved queen. Looking back, I sadly realised that social and religious prejudice were alive and thriving in Auckland in the 1960s era. What do you think of that?
Goodness. Beautiful sailing ships to bloody stumps. Picturesque. I don't know if that's the right word, but certainly some strong imagery anyway. Let's put it that way.
Well, I have to admit they were a bit astounded when I read that at this writing course I went to. They realised, I think, there was a lot more to me than they'd thought possible. I suppose that still comes in the category of growing up in Auckland and memories of the times.
Certainly, oh yes.